What's going on, guys? It's fight season MMA, and today I want to make a video talking about why I believe Sean O'Malley's performance and title reign was absolutely abysmal inside the UFC. Sean O'Malley became the champion at UFC 292, where he only reigned until UFC 306, beating Chito Vera once at UFC 299 during that span. He just lost to Merab Dvalishvili at UFC 306 on September 14th, 2024, and he got absolutely mauled by Merab for at least 4 rounds of that fight. In the 5th round, he kind of hurt Merab, and that gave Sean O'Malley the round, but ultimately that doesn't equate to the damage and the control time that Merab had. Sean O'Malley's championship reign, in my opinion, was super disappointing. I thought that Tim Welch's coach was giving him horrible advice, and today I just kind of want to elaborate on why I believe Sean O'Malley's title reign was just such a failure. If you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. This is the best way to help support the channel. And while you guys are down there, please turn on the post notifications just so you guys are always subscribed when the UFC content releases daily. But without further ado, let's jump right into the video on why I believe Sean O'Malley's performance in title reign was absolutely so disappointing. So, Sean O'Malley's title reign, it only lasted 1 defense, 1 win against Aljamain Sterling to capture the belt, 1 defense against Chito Vera at UFC 299, and a loss to Merab Dvalishvili. Now, when he captured the belt against Aljamain Sterling, apparently he had a rib injury going into that fight, which was something that really hampered him in training camp. He said he couldn't grapple the entire camp, and that since Sterling is such an amazing grappler, he would have to knock him out on the feet. In the 2nd round, he made Sterling overcommit across the void and to get knocked out by that straight right hand right down the pipe. It was an incredible knockout. There was something like 19 unanswered shots prior to Mark Goddard stopping the fight, and Merab and Sterling were saying it was not a great stoppage, but in my opinion, great stoppage for Sean O'Malley. He ultimately then became the Bantamweight champion, and his name was only growing. But then he only had a title defense against Chito Vera, and Chito Vera was the 6th ranked UFC Bantamweight at that time. And this was a kind of a grudge match for Sean O'Malley, to where he went in there and absolutely put on a masterclass over Chito Vera. Now, Chito Vera, don't get me wrong, great fighter, just lost to Deiveson Figueiredo, has beat the likes of Pedro Munoz, he beat Rob Font, he had a very close fight with Jose Aldo, but Chito Vera was never the type of fighter to beat the high-level fighters in the bantamweight division. So Corey Sandhagen, he lost to Deiveson Figueiredo, Sean O'Malley now, and it was kind of just something that Chito Vera wasn't the greatest at, and Sean O'Malley took advantage of that because he did quote-unquote lose to Chito Vera, which prompted the rematch to occur right then thereafter. Now, I do think that Sean O'Malley did kind of preemptively choose this match with Chito Vera because he did think it would be an easier stylistic matchup. He did not have to go against a grappler. It would just be an all-out striking match, and as we all know, Sean O'Malley is one of the greatest strikers in the UFC. But in this matchup with Merab Dvalishvili, it was mainly a grappling matchup, and Sean O'Malley really didn't have a grappling forward approach, or doesn't have a great grappling forward defense compared to Merab's takedown style and thereon. Sean O'Malley, yes, is a great fighter. He has a lot of different ways to win inside the UFC, but Sean O'Malley also has very big weaknesses around the area when it appears to wrestling defense, and that is what Merab exposed. Merab was able to set up the distance and the timing exactly perfect, which really threw off Sean O'Malley. It kept him on the ground a lot more. I think Sean O'Malley said that he was really surprised by the strength of Merab Dvalishvili, and truly he was out there thinking that he was going to breeze through Merab, which really impacted his fight, considering that he thought it would be super easy, but it ultimately wasn't. Now, something that came up after this fight is Sean O'Malley said that he tore his labrum in his hip 10 weeks out prior to this camp occurring, which is going to precede a long layoff for Sean O'Malley in this fight. He said he's going to have surgery on October 3rd, which is going to keep him out for probably at least 8 months or so. So ultimately, that was something that probably affected Sean O'Malley during the fight, but Sean O'Malley has been very adamant about no excuses going on to this fight, which is fully commendable, especially since he got absolutely mauled by Merab Dvalishvili in that fashion. But at Sean O'Malley's title reign as a whole, I just want to look at why it was so just genuinely disappointing to me. Sean O'Malley is one of the biggest stars in the UFC organization. He has the name, he's been aspiring to be like Conor McGregor in his time, of having that name, to be a dominant champion, to kind of be someone who's reigned over that division for a very long time. And the really hard test he came up to in Merab Dvalishvili, he kind of just crumpled under the pressure of doing so. Now, Aljamain Sterling, massive test, but Aljamain Sterling really didn't have the same cardio as someone like Merab Dvalishvili to go all 5 rounds. Aljo was very big for 135 when he did fight there, and that was a very hard weight cut for him to be able to achieve, which really impacted his gas tank. So at 145, I do believe Aljamain Sterling is going to be a lot better of a fighter. Now, someone like Merab, who's a little bit smaller, who has a good gas tank, who has that relentless wrestling pressure, is someone who truly went out there and is an amazing fighter to be able to combat the style of Sean O'Malley. And I think that that was something that was very adamant early on in this war between the two individuals, that Sean O'Malley just got outclassed by Merab Dvalishvili. And the biggest thing is that Sean O'Malley's only title defense was versus the 6th ranked Chito Vera. And like I was kind of going into prior, Chito Vera isn't the same caliber of fighter as a lot of these other different individuals in the UFC bantamweight division. I would take Peter Yan over Chito. I would take Henry Cejudo over Chito, Corey Sandhagen over Chito, Umar Nurmagomedov, Merab Dvalishvili, Aljamain Sterling when he was there, and Davis Figueiredo, at least over Chito Vera, just due to that slow style, that lack of grappling. Yes, Chito probably is one of the hardest hitting pound for pound fighters in the UFC, but when you tie that with little output and a lot of different things like that, Chito Vera isn't going to be the stylistic style of fighter that's going to really be able to go out there and win a lot of different fights. So I do think that it was a very lackluster performance for Sean O'Malley, considering of how just Chito Vera fights and of how, yes, there was history between the two individuals, but for Sean O'Malley's first title defense, I don't think that Chito Vera being beat was something that was very, very, very adamant. Now, yes, the Peter Yan win is a great win for Sean O'Malley, considering that Sean O'Malley was coming up in his time. He beat Peter Yan in a very close fight. A lot of things that a lot of these different individuals couldn't do, especially like Song Yadong couldn't beat Chito Vera, but Sean O'Malley losing to quote-unquote his first test inside the UFC bantamweight division is very, very, very disappointing for a lot of UFC fans. A lot of fans thought Sean O'Malley would be the champion for a while. I had Sean O'Malley running through Merab Dvalishvili in round 1, but he just got absolutely flustered when there was a threat of the grappling game, and that really makes me think that Sean O'Malley's never going to have a shot to beat Merab Dvalishvili, or there's never going to be a shot to beat someone like Umar Nurmagomedov, and truly, I don't even know if he could beat someone like Corey Sandhagen in that top part of the bantamweight division, considering Sandhagen is just so well-rounded. Ultimately, Sean O'Malley's still a great fighter, but his championship reign was incredibly disappointing in my opinion. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please let me know what you think down below in the comment section about Sean O'Malley's disappointing title reign in my opinion. Sean O'Malley had the opportunity to go out there and smoke Merab Dvalishvili and to start building his title legacy as it went further and further forward. Now, I truly believe that Sean O'Malley, if he went out and beat Merab, could be in the conversation for the greatest bantamweight of all time. Still give that to Aljamain Sterling, but Sean O'Malley has needed to win that fight against Merab to even be put in that consideration, and I just don't think Sean O'Malley will ever have the opportunity to beat someone like Umar, to beat someone like Corey, or to beat someone like Merab Dvalishvili ever again, considering that their styles are going to be able to combat him very, very well. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA. If you guys enjoyed the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. That is the best way to support the channel. And while you're down there, please turn on the post notifications just so you guys are always updated when UFC content releases daily. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and I will catch you guys very soon with more UFC content and news.